Back at it again, you guys. I Refine Movement, episode 4. I'm Robbie, that's Travis, and on today's episode, we talk about the insane markups on some of the new CTRs. We talk about all-around cool guy Melvin Rodriguez and his white four-door Civic that he daily drives and tracks, and we also take your YouTube comments and questions. All right, you guys, so let's get into it. All right, so huge markups on these new CTRs, you guys. Since they've come out, crazy prices have been coming around. Things are flying all over the place. Travis, what do you think about these crazy markups on some of these Civic Type Rs?
It's definitely something that the Honda dealers are taking advantage of. And I think what is a big common misconception about dealerships is they're not really affiliated with the manufacturer. They obviously have a manufacturer brand, like you go to a Honda dealership and that's what they have, but they're independently owned and run, and they're not really run by Honda, say. So what happens is that the MSRP is set by Honda, like, well, this is what we suggest this car is supposed to be sold for. So, so the MSRP on the 2017 Civic Type R is set at, what I'm looking at here is $33,900. So $34,000, which I
essentially,
and I think that's an awesome price for that car.
Yeah, for what you're getting, sure.
If you could get out the door with that, that's amazing. But you know. The dealer wants to make some money, and the hype around the Type R is that they're trying to capitalize on that, especially right when the car came out. And so I'm looking here online, and it's like, this is the highest I've seen, a $25,000 adjusted market value markup.
That's insane. But so what I'm curious about is, where is that? Does that say where, like what part of the country that's in?
I can't tell from this image.
Okay, so maybe you can look for that. But what I want to say is that I've seen these markups too. They're crazy. They're all over. I think it kind of depends on where you are at in the country. For example, I could picture like California. Maybe that's that $25,000 markup. But I've also seen, even when the car came out, like people were reporting in Ohio, there was a $2,000 markup. So there's still a markup, but in Ohio, the demand for a Civic Type R probably isn't quite the same as the demand in California, or let's say in Florida or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely think the markup I think the prices of Hondas in Florida, from what we've seen, because we live here, is definitely higher than what I've seen in like the Midwest. You know, just for a Honda that's like our cars.
A normal Civic,
an older Civic, is less. If you go to Ohio, for say, or Michigan or something in the Midwest, is definitely less than if you get it here, especially in Central Florida. I think there's kind of a higher demand for Hondas and But yeah, the Type R, I mean, the dealers, it's kind of frustrating because I think some countries don't have a system like our dealerships do in America, and it makes for kind of some unfair pricing. Like for this car, that's kind of unfair to, want $25,000 extra on a car, like, holy crap.
I think it's like you said, though, too, in a previous podcast that we did, the price is worth it to who's going to pay for it. Meaning that if there's a buyer that's going to pay that markup, hey, guess what? That's the price.
That's true. I mean, if you really want this car and you want to be that guy and you want to have the first one that's at the dealer show floor, like,
you got to pay. I mean, it's demand, right? It's like these older Civics that we have. Kelley Blue Book says, hey, they're probably worth dirt. But, to the cult following that follows these things, you could turn around and sell your Civic for much more.
Right. That's true. I think the dealers don't want to get, I guess, lack of a better word, screwed over, by selling it for what Honda says, and then, that guy buys it and then sells it for 10 grand more because Joe Schmo wants it.
Right. Maybe he's just flipping it. You always have to take into account the cult following of something. And just because something is listed as the MSRP or the Kelley Blue Book, there's always something else behind that. But so a lot of people are saying, like, oh man, like, this is a Honda. When you're paying this $20,000 markup on some of these things, you're talking about BMW like M2 money. Like, you're talking about a whole different class of car, totally different thing. So these markups, man, they're serious. And yeah, depending on what part of the country you're in, you're going to experience it in different ways.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. You could walk $60,000, you could get you a nice car, but the thing is that the Type R is special. I mean, it has a number plate on it. There's not going to be millions of these cars made, so it goes back to that. It's a special car. Even if it is a Honda, because Hondas can be cool.
It's yeah. Well, it's special to the community who loves it. Just because it says BMW on it doesn't mean it's special.
Right.
It's special because it has a community. Same thing with Honda. But so, yeah, it's crazy, you guys. The markups are insane. What do you all think? First of all, what part of the country are you in? And have you looked into this? Is there anyone watching this who has been like, hey, I really want a CTR and, I want to look into the price. Has anyone looked into the prices of these things? At your local Honda dealership, what are they charging? Put in the comments below and let us know. All right, so moving on to the Instagram story of the week. We've been following this guy for quite some time, and he just seems like an all-around cool guy. Melvin Rodriguez. We want to say, hey man, we love your content on Instagram. We love watching your videos you post about the track day. This guy has a super clean white 4-door Civic with a JDM D-Series engine in it. Now, what's so cool about this, you guys, is that he actually daily drives this car and tracks it at the VTEC Club events. This car is super clean. He always is keeping up on it. Maintenance, just how it looks, like it's just such a cool build. And Melvin seems like such a cool guy. And we just wanted to say hey and throw him out there in the spotlight a little bit. And if you guys don't follow this guy, definitely check him out on Instagram. Trav, what do you think about Melvin's car?
Melvin's a cool guy. I've talked to him a couple times on Instagram. He's messaged on a couple of our stories once in a while, and he always likes and comments on our, cool stuff we post on Instagram, and I always like his pages. And he's always really good at social media, so he has lots of good posts. Yeah. I love his car because it's everything. It's a daily driver. It's a 4-door, so he has his wife and his daughter driving them around, and he's a military guy, so he drives it to work. And then when he goes to the track, he puts his track wheels on with his track tires and takes out the back seat and puts in his bucket seat and he goes and tears it up. Like, I love that dual purpose thing. Like, it's such a cool thing to do. If you can do both, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
It is awesome. Like, we have 2 different cars. So, we have our daily and then our project. So, it's a little bit of a different world. Maybe we don't worry about the project as hard, as maybe he would have to. But I totally agree. Like, it's so cool that he can use this car as a daily driver, take a wife and kids to the grocery store, have fun, come on back, whatever it is, But then he can go track this thing too. And like, Melvin, I just want to say that's awesome, man. Like, we look up to you. We think it's totally cool. We love your build. Seeing the parts that you're putting on, like, you guys should check out his feed. Like, he's always putting on some kind of new part. He's checking out a lot of different parts, like new in stuff, terms of research and development, kind of. Maybe not research and development, but he's getting these parts and trying them out. For example, like the Trueheart camber arms. I know he's a big fan of the Trueheart stuff here lately. He's getting a lot of their parts, and he's driving them on track. He's driving them every day, and it sounds like it's really good. Like, it really works for him. So, yeah, totally cool, man. We love your thread there, Melvin, and yeah, we just wanted to say thank you and let everyone know about your build. Moving on to the last segment of the day, YouTube comments and questions. And our first comment really comes from Chen Hauer. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, man. And this is on episode 2 of iRefine Movement, the podcast, where we were talking about more upgrades and more problems on the cars. So he says, thus the reason why I spent $5,000 on my EG and said, screw this, let me get a new 86. Had to buy a new ignition because someone tried to steal it. More problems, more money. So Trav, you wanted to speak to this?
Yeah, I definitely can relate to this because it's something that I've thought about all last year. Because as a lot of people have seen, I've been modifying heavily my car since last summer. Once I've modified one thing, a problem has arisen, which we talked about last one of the podcasts, and a lot of those problems come from the car's age. You know, having 200,000 miles, being over 10 years old, and
Right.
you know, like things are just broken. Like my brake calipers had worn out.
I remember you getting the new ones.
And I didn't know that until we went to change the rotors and the pads. And
Right.
so then,
you always had that brake leak issue,
had a brake
and you
leak.
never knew from where.
yeah, and then now I got to go buy new calipers, which I didn't need to do. Apparently, you can just change the seals. So don't yell at me, internet. But stuff like that, you know, like I had to change, my power steering was leaking, so I had to fix that. You know, a new car, you wouldn't run into stuff like that, leaks and all this other stuff. You kind of can just plug and play almost. You can just get some coilovers and run to the track and get some tires and you're good to go. Yeah.
So like the new 86, you could essentially just get that and go get out on track.
Right, and what I think what it boils down to is it's like, how much money do I put into this old car? Could I have just bought an 86 for, you know, even a gently used one for 15,000 or 20,000? Like, am I at that at my car with all the maintenance? And I don't know if I'm that high, but
Yeah, right.
But I'm maybe pretty close. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done the math because I'm pretty afraid of it, actually.
Right. I mean, he's talking maintenance, all this stuff, which you got to do on an 86 too. I mean, you got to do all the maintenance, tires, all that stuff still too. For me, I think it really just comes down to you pick your path. And if you are just wanting to get that track experience, the driving, yeah, maybe buying a car that's just totally ready to go is the way you need to go. Because if you're not interested in wrenching on a car or figuring out what parts of stuff you want to get, then buying an old car is definitely not for you.
Yeah.
And that's not even just Hondas. That's
any old car, yeah.
Any older car that you want to get and go track racing, that's not for you. If you just want to get out there, turn the wheel and hit the brake and gas pedal, you need to buy a car that's just reliable, ready to go right now. Obviously, the other end of that spectrum is you want to build your car. You want to do what we're doing and what you are doing. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like you just have those daydreams of like, oh, what if I could just get out on track and drive? Like, I'm spending so much money in this. What if I just go buy a new car and I'm just done with it? Like,
when you hit the 10th hour of the day and you've been on your back for the whole day under the car, you're just like, is this?
And you're disgusting,
right,
and
just
bleeding, and
I'm bleeding, and I have oil all over my face, and I'm sweating, and I haven't eaten all day, and it's like, is this what I really want to be doing right
Why
now?
am I doing this again? I remember those moments. Like, you'll be working on something. The transmission install for me was a great example.
Yeah.
I'd be at the end of that day, and I finally get done what I planned on doing that day, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't remember what the end goal is. Like, am I track driving or am I just trying to get this done? I don't even know. Like, so I get it, man. I mean, you know, it's totally depends on your path. Like, what do you want to do? Like,
All right, guys, just please subscribe. That is also very important. Subscribe, comment, and like, and be a part of the discussion. We want to talk to you guys on the comments. So, thanks for watching.
yeah, thanks for watching.